Dark clouds loomed outside as Emma sat on her bed, scrolling through her phone. It was one of those nights, quiet, almost too quiet, when the world felt heavy with secrets. Emma, a tech-savvy girl with a knack for curiosity, loved exploring the unknown. Apps, games, new tech, she had seen it all. But tonight, something strange popped up on her screen. An app she'd never heard of before. Its icon? A black envelope with a blood-red question mark. Its name? The Messenger. That's weird, Emma murmured, her thumb hovering over the download button. There were no reviews, no ratings, just the app, sitting there as if it were waiting for her. Would you have clicked it? She did. The download was almost instant, faster than any app she'd ever installed. When she opened it, the screen went black for a moment. Then, a message appeared in glowing white text. Welcome, Emma. You've been chosen. Her heart skipped a beat. Chosen? For what? She laughed nervously. Must be some prank app, she said aloud, trying to shake off the unease creeping up her spine. But the moment she tried to exit, another message flashed. Do not ignore me. Emma froze. The air in her room felt colder suddenly, the soft hum of rain outside growing louder, almost deafening. She tapped her screen, trying to close the app, but it wouldn't let her leave. Then, the final message appeared for the night. 11:43 p.m. Someone will die. Her laughter stopped. It wasn't funny anymore. She checked the time, 11:17 p.m. She shook her head, deciding it was just a bad joke. But the app stayed open, its warning glaring back at her. Would you believe it? Or would you wait to find out? Emma's curiosity won. She didn't delete the app. She couldn't stop staring at her phone, waiting. The minutes crawled by. 11:42. 11:43. And then, a scream pierced the silence of the night. Emma's heart raced as she ran to the window, pulling back the curtain. Down the street, under the dim glow of a streetlight, she saw chaos. A man, her neighbor, lay on the ground next to his bike, unmoving. The time? Exactly 11:43 p.m. She stumbled back from the window, trembling, as her phone vibrated in her hand. A new message flashed on the screen. 1 down. 9 to go. And just like that, Emma's life had changed forever. Emma didn't sleep that night. Her mind was stuck on what she'd seen, the crash, the scream, and the app's chilling message, 1 down. 9 to go. She sat on her bed, her phone in her hand, the glow of the screen the only light in the room. Her heart raced every time she looked at it, but she couldn't bring herself to put it down. What was this app? How did it know? At 7 a.m., just as the first rays of sunlight crept into her room, her phone vibrated again. A new message appeared. Today, at 8:15 a.m., the second will fall. Emma gasped, her chest tightening. It couldn't be real. No way could this app predict another death. She stared at the clock, 7:10 a.m. An hour to go. Her first thought was to warn someone, anyone. But how? Who would believe her? Hi, I downloaded a creepy app, and it's predicting deaths. They'd think she was crazy. She paced her room, the seconds ticking by too fast. Her parents were downstairs having breakfast, oblivious to the storm brewing inside her. Should she delete the app? She tried again, tapping and holding the icon. But like before, it didn't budge. It was as if it was glued to her phone, refusing to leave. Then it hit her. What if she went outside? What if she could see it happen before it was too late? She didn't know why, but something told her she needed to witness this. Throwing on a hoodie, she rushed out the door, ignoring her mom's voice calling after her. The streets were quiet, the morning air crisp. She checked her phone, 7:50 a.m. She found herself at the town square, where people were just starting their day. A street vendor setting up his cart, a young couple walking their dog, an elderly man sitting on a bench. Everyone looked normal. Emma glanced at the time again, 8:10 a.m. Her stomach churned. 5 minutes. She stood still, her eyes darting from one person to another. Who would it be? The vendor? The couple? The old man? Then she saw him, a delivery man on a bike, speeding through the square. He was weaving through pedestrians, balancing a large box on his back. Her heart sank. No, it can't be. The clock struck 8:15. A car horn blared, and Emma's world seemed to slow down. The delivery man didn't see the oncoming vehicle until it was too late. The crash was deafening. People screamed, rushing to help, but it was no use. Emma stood frozen, her hands trembling, as her phone buzzed again. She didn't want to look, but she couldn't stop herself. 2 down. 8 to go. Tears welled in her eyes as she stared at the message. This wasn't a coincidence. This was real. The messenger wasn't just an app. It was something far more sinister, and it wasn't done with her yet. Emma was shaken to her core. 2 lives gone. 2 lives predicted. And the app, it kept going. She sat in her room, her hands trembling as she held her phone. The glowing screen mocked her with its eerie silence. No new messages. Yet. Her mind raced. Who had made this app? Why her? She had no enemies, no dark secrets. Just a normal girl with a love for tech and mystery. But this was no ordinary mystery. The clock struck midnight, and Emma's phone buzzed violently. Her heart sank as she hesitated to look. Finally, she mustered the courage to unlock it. Tomorrow, at 3 p.m., the third will fall. Her stomach churned. Another one. Another person's life hanging by a thread. And Emma had no idea who or how. This time, she wasn't going to sit idly by. She was done being a passive witness. She needed answers. She decided to dig deeper. Pulling out her laptop, Emma began researching. She searched for anything she could find about the messenger. Forums, blogs, tech sites, nothing. It was as if the app didn't exist outside her phone. But then, in a dark corner of the internet, she stumbled upon a thread titled, "The Cursed App, Beware the Messenger." Her fingers trembled as she clicked the link. The post was written by someone named Alex J. and was filled with warnings. If the messenger chooses you, it's already too late. The app cannot be deleted. It predicts death, but there's more to it. The final message, it's the worst one of all. Stop it before it reaches the end. Emma's blood ran cold. What did Alex mean by the final message? She scrolled down, desperate for more information, but the thread had been cut off. No other posts. No replies. Just silence. She tried tracking Alex J., but their profile was gone. Deleted. Erased, like they'd never existed. Emma leaned back, her mind spinning. Stop it before it reaches the end. How? How could she stop something she didn't understand? Her phone buzzed again, pulling her back to reality. Another message. You're getting closer, Emma. She gasped. Her blood turned ice cold. The app, it wasn't just watching. It knew what she was doing. For the first time, Emma felt truly trapped. Whatever this was, it was playing with her. The next day, at 2:45 p.m., she found herself pacing the town square again, eyes darting everywhere. Who would it be this time? The streets were busier now, families, kids, workers. She couldn't spot anything unusual. Her phone buzzed. 15 minutes left. Emma's pulse quickened. She tried warning people, asking them to stay alert, but they just looked at her like she was crazy. The seconds ticked by, and at exactly 3 p.m., chaos erupted. A construction worker on a scaffold lost his footing. Emma screamed as the man tumbled, his harness snapping. People rushed to help, but it was too late. Emma fell to her knees, her heart heavy with guilt and fear. She couldn't stop it. Her phone vibrated. She stared at the screen, dreading what it would say. 3 down. 7 to go. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "Why me? What do you want from me?" The phone didn't answer. It just buzzed again with a final message for the night. "You'll know soon enough." The weight of the third death bore down on Emma like a storm cloud. She sat in her room, staring at the glowing screen of her phone, the words 3 down. 7 to go burned into her mind. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. The fear had taken over. She knew it was only a matter of time before the next message arrived. And when it did, she was determined to do something. At 11:59 p.m., her phone buzzed. Emma flinched. She didn't want to look, but couldn't stop herself. Tomorrow, at 9 p.m., the fourth will fall. The predictability of the message didn't make it any less terrifying. Another life was on the line, and she still didn't know how to stop it. But this time, Emma had an idea. She needed help. Someone who could understand the gravity of what was happening. Her best friend, Lily, was the only person who came to mind. Lily was sharp, logical, and not easily scared. If anyone could help, it was her. Emma wasted no time. She grabbed her phone, her jacket, and biked to Lily's house. It was late, but Emma knew Lily wouldn't mind. When Lily opened the door, Emma's pale face and trembling hands immediately put her on edge. "Emma? What's wrong?" Emma stepped inside, shutting the door behind her. "I need to show you something, but promise me you won't think I'm crazy." Lily nodded, concerned but curious. "What is it?" Emma hesitated, then handed over her phone. Lily frowned as she scrolled through the app. "Okay, this is creepy," Lily admitted. "But it could just be some sick prank." Emma shook her head. "It's not a prank, Lily. It's real. 3 people are dead, and the app predicted all of them. Down to the exact time." Lily's skepticism faltered. "Wait, you're serious?" "Yes." Emma's voice cracked. "And there's another death tomorrow at 9 p.m. I don't know how to stop it." Lily sat down, processing everything. "Okay, first, let's figure out who made this app. There has to be a trail." Emma felt a flicker of hope. "I already tried searching. I found a forum post, but it didn't explain much. Just that the final message is the worst of all." "The final message?" Lily asked, her eyes narrowing. Emma nodded. "Yeah. I don't know what it means, but it scares me." Lily leaned back, her mind racing. If this thing is real, and it knows all this, then maybe it's more than just an app. What if it's connected to something? "I don't know. Supernatural?" Emma didn't respond. She didn't want to admit that the thought had crossed her mind. "We need to figure out the connection," Lily said firmly. "Why you? Why now?" "There has to be a reason." Emma sighed. "I don't know. I didn't do anything. I just downloaded it." "Then we start there," Lily decided. "Tomorrow, we'll track the next death. Maybe we can find a clue." Emma didn't feel entirely convinced, but having Lily by her side made her feel less alone. The next day passed in a haze. Emma and Lily spent hours researching the app, digging into anything that could explain its existence. But nothing concrete came up. As the clock ticked closer to 9 p.m., they found themselves at the local park. The app hadn't given a location, so they chose a spot where many people gathered. The tension was unbearable. Emma's phone buzzed at 8:59 p.m. A new message flashed. "Watch the playground." Emma and Lily's eyes darted to the playground. Kids were playing, parents chatting. It seemed so peaceful, too peaceful. And then they saw it. A little boy climbed up the jungle gym, laughing as his mother called for him to come down. But the boy slipped, tumbling backward toward the concrete below. Emma and Lily screamed, rushing toward him, but a stranger, a man, caught the boy just in time. For a moment, relief washed over them. Maybe they'd stopped it. Maybe they had finally changed the outcome. But then Emma's phone buzzed again. She didn't want to look, but she did. He was not the one. Their relief turned to dread. Across the park, an old man sitting on a bench clutched his chest, collapsing to the ground. By the time they reached him, it was too late. The ambulance arrived, but the man was already gone. Emma stared at her phone as it delivered its cold, heartless update. 4 down. 6 to go. Tears streamed down her face. Lily put a hand on her shoulder, her voice trembling. "We'll figure this out, Emma. We have to." But Emma wasn't sure they could. The weight of the fourth death hung heavy in the air. Emma and Lily sat in Emma's dimly lit room, the only sound the faint ticking of the clock. 4 down, 6 to go, Emma whispered, her voice barely audible. "I don't know if I can keep doing this." Lily clenched her fists. "We have to. There's still time to stop it. We just need to figure out how this app works." Emma sighed, staring at her phone. The cursed app felt like it had a life of its own, mocking her, taunting her. The clock struck midnight. Emma's phone buzzed. Her heart jumped into her throat as she hesitated to unlock it. Lily leaned closer, whispering, "Whatever it says, we're facing it together." Emma took a deep breath and unlocked the screen. "Tomorrow, at 7 p.m., the fifth will fall." This time, there was more. Another line appeared beneath the prediction. "Look to the church." Emma and Lily exchanged uneasy glances. The church. It was a small, old building on the edge of town, rarely visited except on Sundays. What could happen there? Lily asked, trying to piece it together. Emma shook her head. "I don't know, but we need to be there before it happens. Maybe we can stop it this time." The next day felt endless. Emma's anxiety grew with each passing hour. She and Lily arrived at the church early, its towering spire casting a long shadow over them. Inside, the air was cold and still. Dusty pews stretched to the altar, and flickering candlelight gave the space an eerie glow. They sat in silence, scanning every corner for clues. The minutes dragged by, and nothing seemed unusual. At 6:55 p.m., the church doors creaked open. Emma's heart raced as she turned to see a middle-aged woman walk in. She carried a bouquet of flowers, her face somber. "She must be here to pray," Lily whispered. Emma nodded, but her instincts screamed that this wasn't just a coincidence. The woman knelt at the altar, her lips moving silently. 6:58 p.m. Emma's phone buzzed again. A new message. "Watch the candles." Her eyes darted to the row of tall candles near the altar. Their flames flickered wildly, as if caught in a sudden breeze. 6:59 p.m. The woman stood, placing the flowers on the altar. She turned to leave, but her foot caught on the edge of the carpet. Time seemed to slow. She stumbled, reaching out to steady herself, but her hand hit one of the tall candlesticks. It toppled over, the flame catching on the fabric of her shawl. Emma and Lily screamed, rushing forward. The woman's screams filled the air as the fire spread quickly. "Grab something to put it out!" Lily shouted, looking around desperately. Emma found a heavy cloth and threw it over the flames, smothering them. The fire died down, and the woman collapsed to the floor, coughing but alive. For a moment, relief washed over them. They had saved her. They had finally stopped it. Emma's phone buzzed again. She hesitated, dreading what it might say. "The fifth survives. For now." Emma stared at the screen, her stomach sinking. "What does that mean?" "For now?" Lily frowned. "It's like the app isn't just predicting, it's controlling. It wants these deaths to happen." Emma felt a chill run down her spine. The app wasn't just a warning, it was a game. And it wasn't done playing yet. The woman looked up at them, her eyes filled with gratitude and fear. "Thank you, you saved me." But Emma couldn't feel victorious. The app had let her live, for now. As they left the church, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The phone buzzed one last time that night. The message was short, haunting, and final. 5 down. 5 to go. The air outside the church was thick with unease. Emma and Lily walked home in silence, their thoughts racing. The app's latest message echoed in Emma's mind, 5 down. 5 to go. The app had shown mercy for the first time. Or had it? That night, Emma couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house, every gust of wind outside felt like a warning. She clutched her phone, staring at the cursed app, waiting for its next move. At 3 a.m., her phone buzzed. The sound sliced through the stillness like a knife. Emma sat up, trembling, and unlocked the screen. "The next one is closer than you think." Her blood ran cold. Closer? Did that mean someone she knew? Someone she loved? She bolted out of bed and called Lily. After 3 rings, Lily answered, her voice groggy. "Emma? What's wrong?" "There's a new message." "It says the next one is closer than I think," Emma said, her voice shaking. "What if it's someone I care about?" Lily was fully awake now. Okay, calm down. Let's think. Who could it mean? Your family? Me?" Emma's heart pounded. "I don't know. But we can't wait to find out. We need to figure this out before it's too late." By morning, Emma and Lily were back at work. They dove deep into forums, searching for anyone who might have encountered the app before. Finally, they found a cryptic thread buried on an obscure website. The post was from years ago, written by someone claiming to have survived the app's game. The words were chilling. "The app doesn't just predict, it manipulates. It knows your fears, your connections, your weaknesses. The closer you get to the final message, the more personal it becomes." Emma's hands trembled as she read aloud. "It knows your connections." Lily leaned closer, her voice low. "So, the app is targeting people you're tied to. That means we have to protect everyone close to you." Emma nodded. "My mom, my little brother, we need to warn them." They spent the day checking on Emma's family, but nothing seemed unusual. Her mom was busy at work, her brother playing video games. As the day turned to evening, Emma felt a creeping sense of dread. The app hadn't given a time, but she knew it was only a matter of hours. At 8 p.m., her phone buzzed again. "The 6th will fall at home." Emma's breath hitched. "At home, it's here, Lily. It's happening here." They raced back to Emma's house, her heart pounding with every step. Inside, everything seemed normal. Her mom was in the kitchen, her brother on the couch. Lily whispered, "Stay calm. We just need to keep an eye on them." But Emma's nerves were frayed. She jumped at every noise, every shadow. The minutes ticked by, each one feeling heavier than the last. At exactly 9 p.m., it happened. The lights flickered, and a loud crash came from the basement. Emma's mom screamed, and her brother froze, his game controller clattering to the floor. Emma and Lily ran to the basement door. "Stay here," Emma shouted to her mom and brother. They descended the stairs cautiously, the dim light from their phones barely cutting through the darkness. At the bottom, they found the source of the noise. A heavy shelf had toppled over, scattering tools and boxes across the floor. Emma sighed in relief. "It's just a shelf." But then her phone buzzed. "The danger is above you." Emma looked up just in time to see a loose beam dangling precariously from the ceiling. It creaked, ready to fall. "Move!" Lily screamed, yanking Emma back. The beam crashed to the floor with a deafening thud, missing them by inches. Upstairs, they heard Emma's mom shouting, "What's going on down there?" Emma and Lily raced back up, their hearts still pounding. They found her mom and brother safe, though shaken. Emma collapsed onto the couch, her phone buzzing one last time that night. 6 down. 4 to go. Emma stared at the screen, her hands shaking. The app hadn't claimed a life tonight, but it had come dangerously close. Lily put a hand on her shoulder. "We're running out of time, Emma. We need answers, fast." Emma nodded, her jaw set. "No more running. It's time to fight back." The next morning, Emma felt a new resolve. The app was no longer just a tormentor, it was a threat she had to destroy. She and Lily gathered in her living room, the sunlight streaming through the windows, a sharp contrast to the dark tension in the air. "We're done waiting for the next message," Emma said firmly. "It's time we take the fight to this thing." Lily nodded, though her face was pale. "But how? This app isn't normal. It's like, it's alive." Emma stared at her phone. "Everything has a source. Whoever, or whatever, created this app must have left clues. We just need to dig deeper." They spent hours scouring forums, tech blogs, and obscure websites. Every lead felt like a dead end until Lily stumbled upon an encrypted web page. It was filled with bizarre code and a single line of text. "The messenger is a mirror. It shows what you fear most." Emma frowned. "A mirror? What does that mean?" Lily typed furiously, decoding bits of the page. "It's saying the app feeds on fear. The more scared we are, the stronger it gets. It's like, it's using us." Emma's stomach churned. "Then we need to stop being afraid. If fear gives it power, we can't let it control us anymore." Her phone buzzed, interrupting their thoughts. Both girls froze, dread settling in as Emma hesitantly unlocked it. "The 7th will face the mirror at midnight." Emma's throat went dry. Midnight. That was less than 12 hours away. "What mirror?" Lily asked, her voice shaking. Emma's mind raced. "It could be anywhere. My bedroom mirror, the bathroom, even a reflection in a window." Lily grabbed her hand. "We're not waiting this time. Let's cover every mirror in the house. If it can't use them, maybe we can stop it." They got to work, draping towels and sheets over every reflective surface. By sunset, the house felt like a fortress, its walls stripped of light and life. As the clock neared midnight, the tension was unbearable. Emma and Lily sat in the living room, every sound amplified in the oppressive silence. 11:59 p.m. Emma's phone buzzed again. The screen lit up with a single word. "Look." Her eyes darted around the room. "Look where?" Lily grabbed her arm, her voice trembling. "Don't look at anything. It's trying to trick you." But then Emma saw it, a faint shimmer in the corner of her eye. She turned, against her better judgment, and saw something horrifying. The covered mirror on the far wall was moving. Beneath the sheet, a shadow writhed, twisting and contorting like a trapped creature. "Emma, don't!" Lily shouted, but it was too late. Emma stepped closer, her breath shallow. She reached out, pulling the sheet away. The mirror reflected the room, but something was wrong. Emma and Lily weren't alone. Behind them stood a dark figure, its face obscured, its presence suffocating. Emma spun around, but there was nothing there. The figure in the mirror stepped forward, its hand reaching for Emma's reflection. The glass began to crack, spiderwebbing outward as if something was trying to break through. Lily grabbed Emma's arm, pulling her back. "We have to get out of here." But Emma was frozen, her eyes locked on the mirror. The figure's hand pressed harder against the glass until, with a deafening crash, the mirror shattered, shards flying everywhere. When Emma looked again, the figure was gone, replaced by her own terrified reflection. Her phone buzzed. She didn't want to look, but she had no choice. 7 down. 3 to go. Emma sank to the floor, tears streaming down her face. "What does it want from me?" Lily knelt beside her, gripping her shoulders. "It's trying to break you, Emma. But we won't let it win. We're going to end this. Somehow." Emma wiped her tears, her fear giving way to anger. No more running. No more waiting. It's time to fight back. The next day, Emma and Lily were determined to find the app's source and end its terror for good. The events of the night still lingered, but the fear had transformed into resolve. "We can't just sit here," Emma said, pacing the room. "That thing knows too much about me. It's playing with my life. We need answers." Lily tapped on her laptop, scouring every forum and thread related to supernatural apps, cursed technology, and urban legends. After hours of searching, she found a lead, a programmer named Victor Kane, who had once developed an app eerily similar to the Messenger. Victor was notorious for experimenting with AI and the occult, a mix that had earned him infamy in certain online communities. One of his projects was rumored to manipulate users' fears, just like the Messenger. Victor Kane, Lily read aloud. He disappeared years ago after his lab burned down. People say he went mad after losing control of his creation. Emma leaned over, her face tense. "Do you think he created this?" "If he didn't," Lily said, "he might know who did. But if he's alive, finding him won't be easy." Emma stared at her phone, the cursed app still sitting there like a ticking time bomb. "We have to try. Where do we start?" Lily's fingers flew across the keyboard. After digging through old news articles and encrypted files, she found a possible location, an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. It was once Victor's laboratory before the fire. By evening, they were on the road, the tension thick in the air. The warehouse loomed ahead, its windows shattered, its walls scorched black. "This place gives me the creeps," Lily muttered as they parked. Emma nodded, gripping a flashlight. "Stay close. We don't know what we'll find." Inside, the air was cold and stale. The remnants of Victor's work lay scattered, broken computers, stacks of charred notebooks, and wires tangled like vines. They searched the space, finding nothing but dust and destruction until Lily stumbled upon a hidden compartment in the floor. "Emma! Over here!" They pried it open to reveal a metal box filled with documents, USB drives, and a single handwritten note. "To those who find this, the Messenger is alive. I created the code, but something else took over. It feeds on fear. It cannot be destroyed, only contained." Emma's hands shook as she read it. "Contained? How?" Lily pulled out a USB drive, its label smudged but legible, "Override Protocol." "This might be it," she said. "If we can access the app's core code, maybe we can shut it down." Emma's phone buzzed, its screen lighting up with another message. The eighth will fall where it all began. Emma's stomach dropped. Where it all began? It's talking about here. Suddenly, the warehouse lights flickered, and a low hum filled the air. Shadows danced on the walls, growing darker and more twisted by the second. Lily clutched the USB drive. We need to get out of here, now. But the shadows converged, forming a figure in the center of the room. It was the same entity Emma had seen in the mirror, its presence suffocating. The figure spoke, its voice a distorted echo. You cannot escape. The game is mine. Emma stepped forward, her fear replaced by fury. No. This ends now. She grabbed the USB drive from Lily and found an old laptop among the debris. With trembling hands, she inserted the drive and opened the file labeled Override Protocol. The screen filled with code, and a command prompt appeared. Terminate connection? Y/N. Emma hit Y, her heart pounding. The figure screamed, a sound that rattled the very walls of the warehouse. The shadows writhed and dissolved, the air clearing as the hum faded. Emma's phone buzzed one last time. She looked at the screen, expecting another cryptic message. Instead, it read, Error. Connection lost. She let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Did we do it? Lily stared at the laptop, the screen now blank. I think we stopped it. But as they turned to leave, a faint voice echoed through the warehouse. 2 to go. Emma and Lily stood in the dimly lit warehouse, the weight of the last message settling over them like a dark cloud. The app was silent now, but Emma could still feel its presence, like a phantom in the room, watching their every move. We stopped it, right? Lily asked, her voice shaky, as though she needed reassurance. I think we did, Emma replied, though doubt gnawed at her. She turned off the laptop, but the feeling of unease didn't leave her. But what does it mean, 2 to go? Does it mean there's more? Lily's face paled. I don't know, Emma, but I don't like this. I don't like how it feels like we're being watched. They quickly gathered the documents and the USB drive, determined to leave the warehouse behind. As they stepped outside, the night air felt colder than usual, and Emma's phone buzzed in her pocket. She hesitated before checking it. The message was short, cryptic, and sent from the same app that had tormented her for weeks. The ninth will face what they fear the most. Are you ready? The words sent a chill down Emma's spine. What does it want from me now? She whispered, her voice barely audible. Lily took a step back, fear evident in her eyes. We need to end this, Emma. We can't keep running from it. Emma clenched her fists. No more fear. No more games. I'm going to end this once and for all. They drove back to Emma's house, but the atmosphere was tense. Every shadow seemed to move, and every sound felt too loud, too sharp. It was as if the world itself was on edge, waiting for something to happen. When they arrived at her front door, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. She paused before entering, her hand hovering over the door handle. Do you hear that? She asked, her voice tight. Lily listened closely. At first, there was nothing but the sound of the wind, but then, faintly, almost imperceptibly, a whispering voice reached their ears. Don't, go inside. Both girls froze. Emma's heart raced as she glanced at Lily. That wasn't me. Someone's in there, Lily whispered, her fear palpable. The front door creaked open on its own, as if the house had decided to welcome them in. Without another word, they stepped inside, the door closing softly behind them. The house was eerily quiet, the familiar surroundings now feeling alien and threatening. Hello? Emma called out, but her voice echoed back at her, swallowed by the darkness. Suddenly, the lights flickered, casting long shadows across the walls. And then, the mirrors. They were all there, every reflective surface in the house seemed to be waiting. Emma's stomach churned as she noticed that the reflection staring back at her wasn't her own. It was the figure. The dark entity from the app, now standing in every mirror, its face twisted in a grotesque grin. "It's here," Emma whispered, her voice trembling. The lights went out, plunging them into complete darkness. The air grew thick with tension, and Emma could feel the weight of the entity's presence, like it was closing in around her. Then the whispering started. Soft at first, then louder. "Face your fear, Emma. It's your turn now." Emma's breath caught in her throat. "I've faced it. I'm not afraid anymore." But the voice didn't stop. It grew louder, more insistent. "Face your fear, or you will die." The mirrors began to crack, their surfaces warping, distorting, and the figure stepped forward, slowly emerging from the shattered glass. Emma and Lily backed away, but the figure followed, its eyes locked on Emma. Lily grabbed Emma's arm. "We can't outrun it. We need to fight." Emma's mind raced. The app had been feeding on her fear this whole time. If she could just face it, maybe she could stop it for good. Without thinking, Emma reached for the nearest mirror, pulling it off the wall and holding it up like a shield. "Leave me alone," she shouted, her voice breaking. "I'm not afraid of you." The figure paused, its twisted grin faltering for a moment. But it didn't retreat. Instead, it lunged forward, its hands reaching for Emma's throat. Just as it was about to make contact, Emma slammed the mirror down onto the ground with all her strength. The glass shattered into 1,000 pieces, and the figure let out a blood-curdling scream. Then, silence. Emma stood there, breathing heavily, her heart pounding in her chest. She looked around, but the mirrors were empty. The figure was gone. For the first time in weeks, she felt a sense of peace. But then, her phone buzzed again. Emma's stomach sank as she read the final message. "One remains. It's your time." She looked at Lily, her face pale. "It's not over. It's not over yet." Emma stood frozen in the middle of her living room, staring at her phone in disbelief. The app had sent another message, its cold, cryptic words sending a shiver down her spine. "One remains. It's your time." Her hands trembled as she dropped the phone onto the couch, the screen still glowing with the chilling message. She could feel the weight of the words pressing down on her, suffocating her. Her time? What did that mean? Lily, who had been standing quietly beside her, spoke up in a shaky voice. "Emma, we need to leave. It's not safe here anymore." But Emma didn't move. Her mind was racing. The entity had been feeding on her fear, tormenting her through the app. Every message had been a countdown to this moment, and now it was here. Her time. "I can't run anymore, Lily," Emma said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "I have to face it. I have to stop it." Lily hesitated, fear clouding her face. "But how?" "We tried everything." Emma turned to face her, determination in her eyes. "This time, I won't be afraid. I know what I need to do." They both turned toward the dark hallway leading to the bedrooms, where the air felt heavier than ever. The lights flickered once more, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch and sway as if alive. Emma swallowed hard, her heart pounding in her chest. They walked toward the hallway together, but as they neared the bedroom door, the temperature seemed to drop. Emma could see her breath forming in the air, her hands now shaking from the cold. The atmosphere was thick with something darker than the night. As they entered the bedroom, Emma noticed the mirrors. They were all intact, their glass surfaces smooth and reflective, but the reflections were wrong. The figure stood in every mirror, watching her with its twisted grin, its eyes dark and empty. The room felt suffocating, like the walls were closing in. Emma's fear started to creep back, but she pushed it down. She couldn't let it control her anymore. Stay close, Emma whispered to Lily. We'll face this together. Suddenly, the mirrors began to crack, each one splintering like a breaking glass. The figure's grin widened as it began to step out of the mirrors, its form shifting and distorting with every movement. The air grew thick with malice, and Emma felt her legs grow weak. But this time, she didn't run. This ends now, Emma said, her voice steady despite the terror she felt. She stepped forward, her eyes locked onto the figure. I'm not afraid of you anymore. The figure snarled, its face contorting into something even darker, but Emma stood her ground. She wasn't the same scared girl who had downloaded the app all those weeks ago. She had faced her fears, and she wasn't going to let it win. She stepped closer to the figure, her hands shaking but resolute. You've tormented me long enough. Now, you're going to leave. The figure screeched in fury, its body beginning to disintegrate, its form swirling into the shadows. It screamed, but Emma stood tall, unyielding, as the shadows began to break apart. Suddenly, the room fell silent. The mirrors shattered completely, the glass raining down onto the floor like a storm of broken pieces. The figure was gone. Emma exhaled deeply, the tension that had been building for so long finally lifting. She looked at Lily, who was staring at her in awe. We did it, Emma whispered. It's over. But as they turned to leave the room, Emma's phone buzzed one last time. She picked it up, her heart skipping a beat as she read the final message. You've won this battle, but remember, fear never dies. The screen went black. Emma dropped the phone in shock. Her legs gave out beneath her, and she sank to her knees. Lily rushed to her side, but Emma could barely catch her breath. Fear never dies. The battle might have been over, but Emma knew deep down that the war with the app, whatever it was far from finished. As the final message echoed in her mind, Emma felt a cold chill run down her spine. The victory over the entity felt bittersweet. Though the immediate danger was gone, the dark presence still lingered, reminding her that fear, once awakened, was never truly vanquished. She had faced her fears, but she knew it wasn't the end, only a pause. With Lily by her side, Emma left the house, but the lessons she had learned that night would stay with her forever. Fear may have been defeated in that moment, but it would always be waiting, lurking in the shadows, ready to strike again. The question remained, would she be ready to face it next time? As Emma looked back at the house one last time, she couldn't help but wonder, was the app truly gone, or was it just biding its time, waiting for the right moment to return? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain, Emma would never be the same again. Thank you for watching this terrifying tale of the Haunted Messenger. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more chilling stories. And remember, sometimes, the most horrifying things aren't what you can see, but what you can't. Stay safe, and sleep tight, if you can.